All my dear ICSI Global family members, ICSI team welcomes you on this live webinar on YouTube that we are presenting. And we are very thankful to Dr. PRIYA VISWESWARAN ma'am, who has dedicated her 4 weeks with us, totally dedicating towards new avenues for educators. And in that, she's telling us more about how teachers and how educators can cope and can adapt technology in a very innovative way through neuro coaching, cellular health coaching, functional medicinal coach, reverse aging coach, and many more things. Ma'am is a doctor and she's a nephrologist, and she is the director of Immortality Institute, Houston, Texas, USA. And she is in conversation with us on making education relevant, preparing global educators. So consecutively for 3 weeks, we have listened to her. She has given us many innovative inputs, her own views. And in this continuation of these 3 weeks, this is the 4th week that we are in conversation with ma'am. So let's just begin this journey one more time. And taking what we have learned last week, will carry forward that thing this week also. So before I'll move to ma'am, I would like to tell everyone, and I want to congratulate that today we are celebrating National Panchayati Raj Day. And this slide basically attracts me very well because it has been told that future of India lies in villages. And this day signifies the celebration of local self-governance, which is very, very important. And it is not just about the one aspect of society, but in every aspect of society. And education is part of that. And educators are the part of that. So we congratulate everyone, those who are part of this Panchayati Raj system in India. And we have to empower that also, and we have to empower each and every person of India in a very, very innovative yet empathetic manner, and giving each and every one the aspect of technology so that they can reach that, they can use that, they can learn from that, and they can make their education relevant. So ICSI believe that we are a global family. We are a global family of 31 million overseas Indian, and beyond that, beyond the Indian aspect, you may be from whichever native of whichever country, we all are one. We are the brothers, sisters of Mother Earth. As 2 days later, we have celebrated World Earth Day. So we are the brothers and sisters, the son and daughters of Mother Earth, and we have to pledge for together making education relevant. And we believe that service industry, when we talk about different aspects of service industry, but education is the prima focus. Education services is the prima focus. And when we talk about education services, that not only in India, but across the globe, along with all the aspects which touch education. If we talk about skills is a part of education only. Competencies, capability, research, innovation, health, wellness, water management, women empowerment, technology, then startups, entrepreneur, everything when we see in a very deeper aspect, touch education ecosystem. So we have kept this education ecosystem environment at the prima focus for education services in service industry. And we believe that all the members of education ecosystem, whether they are educators, teachers, youth, counselors, principals, professors, everyone, they can empower if they get relevant connection with technology in all these aspects, and they get empowered, they can totally contribute towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. And as I say, this is my best line, which gives me motivation and which should give you motivation as well. Believe me, whatever your mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, this is a truth. This is a universal truth. It is just, you don't have to just read it out, you have to feel within. And when you start feeling within, definitely it happens at whatever your mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. So let's come together for making education and skills relevant. And why we are showing this particular thing is that give your valuable suggestions to us, write to us on the given email ID, or you can also WhatsApp us. And we are proudly saying that starting from 25th March, we have completed till date 1546 webinar. And today is our 1547th webinar, which is all about, we are talking all about, because Dr. PRIYA VISWESWARAN ji from USA is with us. So we are talking about health and wellness and how to actually see the entire, all the dimensions of wellness when we talk about and incorporate all these things into education. So as I've told that we have bring this series consecutively for the 3 weeks already. So in week 1, this is the glimpses of that. Then week 2 and week 3, and today we are into our week 4, that is 24th April 2022. Let's talk about ma'am, and let's just stop, share it, and talk to ma'am. Ma'am, we welcome you wholeheartedly. And it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Chitraji. I really, really appreciate the warm and affectionate introduction. I appreciate the opportunity given to us by Major General Dr. Gulshan Sharma ji, who I just learned about a little while ago. You've been mentioning he's been sick, and I thought, you know, when you're living in your head, sometimes some things don't register, and I thought that he was waiting for all of the presentations to be completed before we could speak. And I didn't realize that he was actually in the hospital and sick. And so I want to take a minute to say a prayer for his rapid and complete recovery and return to ICSI and return to the flag-bearing, wonderful leadership that he has given this organization, to Mother India and to all of us non-resident Indians. He has chosen to lead us all with the flag of Mother India, and we are all following in his grand and great footsteps. The sacrifices of Major General Gulshan Sharma ji cannot be underestimated. They cannot be easily duplicated or replicated. Sacrifices he has made for our country, for India, the sacrifices he has made for the world in general. And I just want to take a minute in gratitude and in prayer to say thank you. Thank you, Major General Dr. Gulshan Sharma ji, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much for creating this series of educational events for the entire world to watch and learn from. And we are so grateful to you for the opportunity given to all of us, the opportunity afforded to all of us. And thank you to Chitra ji for doing such a wonderful job carrying your baton forward for the country of India and for us all. So grateful to you, Chitra ji. Appreciate
Yes,
you. So
and
grateful to Major General Gulshan Sharma ji. And thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much. I look forward to continuing the series, if possible, with some more coaching trainings that have come up that I'm also working on. And so today I just want to talk a little bit about the Neuro Coaching Training Program. Are you able to see my slides, Chitra ji?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let me share. And at the outset, I want to say that these slides have been very graciously sort of given to me by Dr. Mark Robert Waldman. And Dr. Mark Robert Waldman is the creator of the Neuro Coaching Program. I am his student in the Neuro Coaching Program. We have worked together for several years now. And he is the actual authority in this field. And it is his program we will be teaching to our teachers in India. And what we want to say is, what are all the huge benefits that neuro coaching can bring to the table for our children who are growing up? And today I want to do a slightly different format. I want to keep the last 10 minutes for reviewing everything we have gone through in the last 3 weeks, because I think when we review it and we listen to it several times, they say you have to hear something or read it 7 times before it consolidates in the long-term memory. And that is again from neurosciences studies extensive neurosciences studies done here in America. And there is so much of information that is available here, and so much of trauma and poverty and general difficulties that we face as human beings can be alleviated by this neuro coaching training. So this is why it is one of the most important coaching programs we will be offering the teachers as a 3-month course, 12 classes, each class for 2 hours. The first 2 weeks, we will do general what coaching training is, what a coach brings to the table, and so on. Excuse me. And then the next 8 weeks, we will get into the actual neuro coaching training part. And the last 2 weeks will be practical. So we will be practicing. We'll have the teacher students practice with one another, bringing out the things that the other person needs. And once they understand the structure of it and how it works, then they are able to do it for school children as well. So the problem in modern day learning, teaching, and even in coaching is that it excludes curiosity, playfulness, excuse me, and intuitive creativity of our brain. So this is a study published in 2020 March and online, entitled Mindfulness and Coaching to Improve Learning Abilities in University Students. It's a pilot study. And what they found was a short intervention based on mindfulness and coaching and training on study strategies may improve students' effective learning. So basically this word mindfulness, right? What does this word mindfulness mean? It means being in the present, in this exact moment, with no connection, with no consciously chosen connections with the past or the future or some other place or some other person, but being here right now, just having that inner conversation and inner dialogue with our own selves. So that requires some training, because we actually train it out of our babies. When babies are born, they're very mindful. In a particular instant, they're only conscious on or focused on what is that sound. I'm hungry. What is, where's mama? Okay, so this is kind of, they're living right in the moment. They're very, very mindful. But we train our students out of mindfulness, which is natural and instinctive. So how do we retrain them back into this? This is important to know. So in 4 to 6 year olds, divergent idea generation might be a primarily bottom-up process that might be hindered by top-down thinking. So what is top-down thinking? Top-down thinking is when you say, okay, this is a goal I'm going to accomplish. I'm going to accomplish it in 6 months. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do so many minutes of exercise. I'm going to eat this and this food. I'm going to eat at so and so times. This is the kind of exercise I'm going to do. I'm going to maintain a food diary journal. So that is top-down thinking, setting a goal and making the strategies and sort of the tactics for achieving those strategies, right? Whereas in young children, their minds are led by just what is here right now. Hey, let's look at this. What is this? Can it make a sound? It's a cell phone. Wow, it makes a light. Wow, maybe I can throw it at somebody and get their attention, right? So younger children generate more original uses for novel than familiar objects. That is, you and I will pick up a phone and only if we're going to make a call or check a text or check something else. The child will think, what are all the uses of this phone that I can use it for, right? That is bottom up. So a child with stronger executive function tends to generate ideas less fluently. What is the executive function? That's what we talked about. Setting a goal and coming up with the strategy and the tactics to achieve them. Okay, I'm sorry, Chitraji. I'm going to try to do it as a slideshow. Just 1 second, please.
Sure, ma'am. From the beginning, ma'am.
From the beginning. Okay. Yeah. Just 1 second, please.
It is given in the first, from beginning first.
I'm just trying to see how I can expand it to fit the whole screen.
From beginning, ma'am, you can do from beginning. The first one.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Chitraji. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay, ma'am. And now we
can you see that?
Yes, ma'am. It is much more
These
clear.
illustrations are by a Native American artist who is actually going blind.
Okay.
His name is George Redfire, I think. I'm not sure. But he creates these very, very mind-boggling illustrations. He's an artist. This is his profession.
Right. Ji.
So we talked about mindfulness and how mindfulness can help this is interesting. The other side of it is not showing up. I don't know why. Wait, here we go. Yeah. So younger children generated more original uses and novel uses of the same objects than children with a stronger executive function. So what is the executive function? That is what we actually discussed. We talked about how when we set a goal, right? And this is, again, I've learned this from my mentor, Mr. John Assaraf, to whom I bow, as well as Dr. Mark Robert Wallman. These are very, very brilliant people. They have accomplished some great things in their lives. Like each and every Indian that I know has accomplished great things in your lives, each of your lives, and each of the NRIs that we all know. Every person here, it is a great feat to be alive today. It is not easy. And if we are and we're doing reasonably well, it is because we have, executed something in our lives. We have done something with our lives. We have chosen goals. We have accomplished them. We have made a plan or a strategy, or, then we've decided, okay, this is what we're going to do. So the goal, strategy, tactics framework I learned from Mr. John Assaraf and from doing his inner sizes, which reprogram the brain. And so children with stronger executive function tend to generate ideas less fluently. And what that means is they have a goal and they're going to accomplish it, and nothing is going to get in their way, right? Let us say they're going to crawl from here to there where mama is standing, where, their mother, mom, amma is standing, right? Even if there is, something in the way, even if somebody tries to pick them up, they're focused, they're just going, they're going to get there no matter what, right? But if they have more strong executive function, they are not generating ideas fluently. The ideas are coming from the bottom-up process. Bottom-up process is just exploring an object with a clean slate of a mind. What all can this do? Just thinking about it in unique, novel, and creative ways without a goal or a focus or a strategy or a purpose of accomplishing something, right? So that is called divergent thinking. It is a bottom-up, unregulated process. And that is what generates ideas fluently. Mm-hmm. So these descriptions and observations are coming from this paper, When a Spoon is Not a Spoon, examining the role of executive function in young children's divergent thinking. Just last year, published last year. So the lower and midbrain, that goes to the frontal lobe, which is the thinking part of the brain. The lower and midbrain, these are automated parts. These are related to reflexes and so on. Whereas top down is where the frontal lobe or the thinking part, the human part, says, okay, I'm going to lose 50 kilograms of weight or 25 kilograms of weight in 6 months. What do I need to do to get that done? Then, if there is a temptation to eat a sweet, this one is saying, no, I'm going to get that weight loss done. Stop it. The temptation is coming from this reflexive, the animalistic sort of, this is how it was previously thought, the brain previously thought of. But what we can say is all the conscious choosing. And there are two parts of this frontal lobe. There's one left prefrontal cortex, which is the genius part of our brain, and there's a right prefrontal cortex, which is the Frankenstein. So the Einstein and the Frankenstein part of our brain. These are all concepts that Mr. John Assaraf teaches, who will also be a teacher in this neuro coaching training that we are doing. So I am so grateful that these people are my mentors. They've given me all they have, and I'm so delighted to bring them as teachers to India, to our teachers, to our students. This is the highest and the best way in which we can connect. And as Dr. Vis said last week, Vidyadanam Sarvadana Pradhanam, they want to give it away. They just want to give it away. So we're very lucky that they will be doing several of these classes during those 8 weeks of neuro coach training. So this idea, this Frankenstein and the Einstein, this is how he describes it, Mr. John Assaraf. The Einstein part is the left prefrontal cortex. The Frankenstein part is the right prefrontal cortex of the frontal lobe, right? So this is where our thinking as human beings occurs. This is the most recently evolved part of the human brain. And the Einstein part is the one that's saying, what is the problem? There's no drinking water. What are all the ways we can bring water here, right? Rainwater harvesting, atmospheric air condensation, right? We can run a pipe from an irrigation canal and then recycle that water back to the irrigation. So the creative thought processes that are generating these ideas, right? That is coming from the Einstein or the left prefrontal cortex. For you, it will look like right side the way I'm pointing it, but just, that's because of the camera and all that, but I'm pointing actually to my left side, okay? Then the right prefrontal cortex is the one that is saying the bad things. It is saying, oh, rainwater harvesting, how do you know there is not acid rain? If you put a metal pot, it will put holes in that pot within 6 months. You'd have spent so much money and the pot will be full of holes and won't be able to collect any rain. Oh, atmospheric water condensation, how do you know that it's going to work? What if it's a very dry day and there's no humidity? And the family, how many days can they go like that without water? Oh, you want to recycle irrigation water? What if there is drought and there's no water even for irrigation? So all these doubts and these negative, harmful thoughts that prevent us from taking action, that come from a very primitive, part, which is fear. And, it comes from fear, basically. As my mentor, John Assaraf says, there are 50 types of fear. So these fears can be packaged in many, many different ways, and they will attack the genius side and they will shut it down. Finished. Then no action will be taken. So neuro coaching, we train people how to get past this part and take action regardless of what the problem might be, right? And the details of that is in the coaching program. I can only sort of give you an overview here, and I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to do that. The details of how it is done will be given in the actual training program.
Ji. So if you allow, I would like to ask a question here, ma'am.
Yes, please.
So we can say that our right part of brain is more analytical.
The right prefrontal cortex of the frontal lobe. So the frontal lobe is in the front part of the skull. The right prefrontal cortex is the one that it is the Frankenstein. It gives it's not more analytical, it's the saboteur. It sabotages the free thinking ideas and the ability to come up with genius solutions to complex, tough, challenging problems. So this part, the left prefrontal cortex, generates solutions.
Right.
This is the most evolved part of the human brain. Otherwise, if you look at the animals, they can easily eat us. How are we, so many of us, billions of us living on this planet, and all the animals that we have sort of driven out of their habitats, so few of them, they're not able to take us on and kill us because we're using the genius part and creating solutions. But if we have fear, if we have any kind of doubt, and if we feel unsafe, or if we feel this is going to take too much energy, too much time, it's not going to work, then that shuts down the action taking part of the our process, because it shuts down the genius part of the brain that is not only creating the solution, but it is also giving the energy to the rest of the body to take the action to make that solution happen or become real. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, thank you for that. And another question with
Absolutely.
that
Thank you.
slide also, we have learned that when a person is in the childhood, like from 1 to age 10,
Yes.
they are more creative, they learn more, they grab more, and all the development of brain in the child goes up to age 10, and after that whatever he learn is just imitating whatever he is seeing or observing. Is that
Yes.
true? As a doctor, what is your opinion about it?
Yes, there is a considerable literature that a lot of it actually happens from birth to age 5.
Okay.
And certainly there is still some neuroplasticity going on until age 10. So what is neuroplasticity? I want to talk about this briefly because neuroplasticity is a very, very important part of growth as a human being. Neuroplasticity is the ability to make new circuits in the brain with new learning. And part of that may also be replacing old, worthless, or useless circuits in the brain with new, more meaningful, relevant, and more true circuits. So, neuroplasticity, for a long time, until maybe just the last 10 or 15 years, people thought that people could not, that once you are set in your ways, that you cannot change. Change is what neuroplasticity is about for an adult, right? Growth is what neuroplasticity is about for a child. Yes. So people thought adults could not change, mostly because you have your set of beliefs, your paradigms of the world that you were raised with. Oh, you think all so and so people are terrible monsters, all so and so people will act in this terrible way in this situation, in this circumstance, or all ideas coming from this quarter are junk. Whatever you have, so we have certain beliefs. Okay, maybe some of us are raised with those beliefs. Most of us do not have a choice of who our parents are. Thankfully, I'm very, very fortunate in that as well. The most open minded and the most forward looking parents. And you could say that is what Gulshan Sharmaji is doing for India. He's bringing that to India, that open mindedness, open it up and share it without any holding back, right? So, my point here is that neuroplasticity is actually a real and valuable thing for adults. Even after our training is over, even after our studentship is over, we can form new circuits. We can grow the brain. We can grow it exponentially. We can grow it infinitely. And these are all findings just in the last few years, like maybe 20 years. And why that is important is, imagine if our staying healthy and our staying alive and without disease depends on how much we can rewire our brain, how much we can rewire the diet, let's say the diet that we were raised with, right? I'll just take an example. Lot of chawal, okay, dahi, dal, okay, this is a diet that we were raised with, rasam, sambar, okay, curries, whatever, okay.
Yes.
So then you look at, okay, it was really good for the lifestyle we had in India and for a long time here. But now it's not working because the lifestyle we have here is very different. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of immediacy in producing results right now, right here, now, deliverables, right? And so here is a requirement for changing the belief system that this is the only best possible diet for us. Now I open up and I'm looking at raw food, at vegan food. How do I eat vegan raw? Because that food has the maximum energy content and can feed my brain and body without adding to the weight. How much should I eat? All of this learning that is occurring for me as an adult, that is neuroplasticity. And that the fact that I can do so much learning and anybody can do it, everybody can do it. This is not a prerogative of any one person or one group of people or anything like that. Everybody can do it. Anybody can do it. That is the beauty of the brain. And this left prefrontal cortex is what is driving that. Yes, it can be done. How do we do it? What do I need to know in order to get that done? Right? Then study that, talk to those people, take those courses, learn that thing, and then practice it. Maybe I'll fail 3, 4, 10, 20 times. But what is failure? The neuro coaching will teach us what failure is. Right? So this is the whole beauty of this, is once we understand that there is no fault or flaw in us, that if a child is learning to walk and the child falls, do we call that failure? Is that failure?
No.
That
is learning, growing.
Exactly. And each time the child falls, there is a new circuit being created in the brain. Don't put too much of your weight on just one side. Now, have you seen children when they first start to walk, how they're like, these graceful butterflies, I call it a bouncing umbrella on a slope. They're kind of like, side to side. They're not sure how much. They're afraid that if they put too much weight on one side, they will fall on that side, because the circuits are being formed as they're trying new experiential learning. And so that is not failure. And just like that, what we do and we don't succeed at is not failure. But neuro coaching gives us the ability to understand that, to reframe it, to look at it from outside of our ego and outside of our hurt feelings and our thought process, using just the brain to study just what went wrong. Oh, that time when I set up a company, I did not choose the right people at the top at the beginning. Now I'll try again. What do you think people like Elon Musk do? They are trying 10,000 times in the time that we have not even tried once, or one failure we had. Oh, must be, I'm never not meant to be an entrepreneur. I'm not meant to be a CEO. I'm not meant to be whatever. So they are trying 10,000 times and they're not taking it as failure. Oh, this doesn't work. Let's try that. No, that doesn't work. Let's try that. That doesn't work. Because they have automated that reframing of what failure is. And they have shut down this fear and doubt center and, all this ruminating center in the brain. They've shut it down so effectively by knowing these techniques and tactics, that the genius part is what is coming out all the time. They are not better or superior. Nobody is better or superior. We are all non-inferior, right? That word, I love that word, non-inferior. Because it makes me feel so good to share that word from Dr. Vis with everybody, because everybody is non-inferior. Nobody is saying we're superior. We should never say that. When we say we are superior, we are setting ourselves up for real failure. Because how can you be better than anybody in everything? I look at people who believe genuinely they were superior, they were chosen by God or whatever to be born as so and so or whatever. I look at such people and I think, how can you not know what all you don't know? There is so little you actually know, and the stuff that you don't know is growing so big, and all your decisions are based on the little that you know, and you're so wrong. So the only thing that can keep us on top of our situations as human beings today is neuroplasticity, is learning, is overcoming those hurdles and barriers to our own growth and our own genius part of our brain. So if I can, I don't know if that answers the question, but
yes, thank you. You have answered it. And the thing that you told, non-inferior, and that shows positive attitude and creativity. That is creativity and positive attitude. Thank you for that.
That is entirely Dr. Vis's creation, that word.
Ji.
And I thank him for that, because it gives freedom. It allows the mind to soar, And I'll give you one small biological example. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Talking so much about the brain and the neurons and the, how it is, all these things. And there are bacteria, as you know, all around us. These are single cell organisms. They don't have a brain, a spinal cord, a neurological system. They don't have all these fancy structures to keep them alive and keep them thinking all the time. But an E. coli bacteria can acquire drug resistance to 5 different drugs and take down a multi-trillion cell human being. It can kill one cell, one bacteria cell, E. coli, can acquire drug resistance to 5 different antibiotics.
Okay.
And all the latest antibiotics.
Mhm.
And it can kill a human being. I've seen that with my own eyes. I've taken care of such patients. Why am I sharing that? That a one cell E. coli can have the same consciousness or greater consciousness as a multi-trillion cell human being. Is that E. coli inferior? Just because it is one cell, or it doesn't have a brain, or it can't talk about neuroplasticity or whatever? No. It's the beauty of creation. It's the enormity of what we don't know. That if one single bacteria without a brain and a spinal cord and one nerve, it doesn't even have a nerve cell, and it can take down a human being. What does that tell you? Even a single cell organism is non-inferior. It's non-inferior. It has equal consciousness to us. Maybe it doesn't have a brain like you can measure with an EEG and all those things, but it has no less consciousness than us. It has no less right to live than we do.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe its right to live is not protected by the law. Here in America, the right, human beings' right to live is supposedly protected by law in this country. But maybe E. coli's right to live is not protected by law, but that thing can take law into its own hands and kill us. I've seen it with my eyes. That's why I know this concept of non-inferior. I feel it. I mean, it is how our parents are. It is how they've raised us. But it's also, it's so deep. You know, when you understand it on a cellular level, like it goes through all the layers of your tissue, you understand it. Anybody can be Einstein. A human being is so much more than an E. coli, you know, in so many ways. It is only a matter of access to opportunity. That's the only difference. That's all the difference. When that opportunity is made available, you will see unbelievable Einsteins. So many of them come up in India from places that you cannot even imagine that there are such brilliant people. Not because of any reason, except that they didn't even have access to opportunity. In that first generation that you give them access, you will see them turn into the Einstein. So that is what we're all working towards. We want to bring all the Einsteins up out of India. We want to give them all the tools to allow the Einstein part of their brain to operate with freedom without being hindered by this part of the brain, which is the negative part, right?
And that is possible through neuro coaching.
Yes, that is the importance. That is why Gulshan Sharma ji has been, God bless him, has been focusing on this. Let's get this to India. Let's get our teachers trained in this. This is why he's been focusing on, so that everybody has an equal opportunity to become the Einstein that they are. Everybody is an Einstein. It's not just a few. Every single person is an Einstein. So our goal as teachers is to remove how many ever obstacles they may have so that their Einstein can shine.
Right.
And there is enough place, enough work, enough jobs on this planet for every single person of the many billions to be an Einstein in their field. There is enough and more. I'll give you one idea. There are trillions of neurons in the body. Okay, only now, and this is something I hypothesized, I think more than a couple of years ago, as I got into the neurological sciences and I started understanding what my mentor, like John Assaraf and Mark Robert Wallman, all these great people were saying. When I started to understand that, I realized that every neuron in the body has a unique and very important function. That one neuron is not like the next neuron right next to it. It is so unique and its function is so important that in the future, we will have people who are experts in the function of that one neuron. Maybe it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it will come to that. Now, and that is trillions of people. How many people do we have? Billions. So each human being can even take 1,000 neurons and become expert in the function of 1,000 neurons. That many jobs there are. There is no lack of supply of jobs. There is only lack of imagination, lack of genius activation. So coming back to this, we have this divergent and convergent thinking. Divergent thinking is the ability to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions in an effort to find one that works. It starts from a common point and moves outward in many directions to involve a variety of aspects or perspectives. So, for example, a child finds this phone and then is thinking, oh, it makes a light, it makes a sound when you press this button. Then the child may ask another child, what else do you think we can use it for? Oh, we can throw it there to get mama's attention. What else do you think we can use it for? Well, the sound that it makes, we can use it to scare the dog. So this kind of thinking, from one thing, you have this and you go out and you think all the ways that you can use it. And so there is actually a test for this. It is Spark It 4-dimensional creative thinking test. It assesses originality and novelty, fluency and ideation, flexibility and adaptability, and elaboration and explanation. And then you have convergent thinking, which is the ability to put a number of different pieces or perspectives in an organized, logical manner to find a solution. I'll give you an example. If you want me to, I'm happy to talk about the asthma coaching program next week. I'm creating the basis for this. I've worked on this all week, actually. And I don't know if you can see this. These papers I'm showing, I'll put them on a slide next week.
Sure,
but I have organized the patient's symptoms and how we will give them points for the different symptoms. And I've taken a lot of different asthma questionnaires from many places and put them all together so that it takes into account the clinical outcomes that all these studies and these different questionnaires have proven to, the situations in which they've proven to work clinically based on outcomes. I've taken all those into account in creating this one single one. I've sort of integrated all of them. So what convergent thinking is the ability to put together a number of different pieces or perspectives of a topic together in some organized, logical manner to find a single answer. What is the answer I'm looking for? What is the severity of your asthma? How severe is your asthma? What will that tell me? What I need to treat, how I need to treat it, and what are all the things I'm going to bring to the table to treat it. So it involves focusing on a finite number of solutions rather than proposing multiple solutions. Exactly. I'm not here to tell you there are infinite ways in which we can bring your asthma under control. I'm here to tell you this is the one best way in which you can do it, right? So what that requires, this is what they're testing, standard IQ test. Okay, fine. Subject knowledge, expertise, logic, reasoning, focus, concentration. This is everything that we are looking at right now. Intelligence, aptitude, whatever. This is the other part, okay? The part we don't ever talk about or teach. So this is kind of the structure of the brain and where in the brain is each of these happening, okay? So this is the imagination network, this big red thing. And so right up on the top here, near the parietal lobe, you have feelings, fantasies, and imagination. Here in the left prefrontal cortex, the genius part of the brain, you have words, ideas, thinking, and talking. And then here somewhere, so this is the T or the thinking circuit. Here is the salience or awareness. Salience means how is this important to everybody? How is it important to me? What is the meaning of this? What is the importance of this? Another word for salience is meta. So the meta awareness. Okay, so I'll give you an example, right? In 2007, I nearly died of multi-organ failure and kidney failure. Okay, I had walked away from nephrology in 2002. After doing all the training, the board certification, and all of that, I said, I can't do this. I'm here to reverse kidney failure or to prevent it from progressing to the point that people need dialysis. I knew that deep inside of me, that based on some input that my mother had given me, and some other patient experiences I had. I can tell you that story next time if you would like to learn more. It's a very, very strange and, sort of a interesting how my life has turned out, not at all according to what I thought I would be. And it was huge after 15 years of training and education and studying and practicing on patients to walk away from nephrology, to just leave that field. I did it. Then in 2007, 5 years later, when I had the multi-organ failure and near-death experience, it was 37 years old then, and my kidneys were scarred and failed. And I didn't understand the meaning of this. And I remember having an actual conversation with God. And I remember saying, why would you give me kidney failure? I'm the one who, walked away from the sort of money that people make in dialysis. I'm the one who tried to prevent progression of kidney failure in patients. I'm the one that took this chronic disease management plan on kidney failure maintenance to this disease management company to persuade them to employ me to do this for patients. I'm the one who had the nightmares about the patient who was accidentally bled to death in a dialysis unit, as if I was the patient. I actually lived the experience of the patient every night in my nightmares. And when my mother said, I took a business plan to her and I said, this is my business plan for the dialysis unit. If I get 10 people on dialysis, I will break even on the money side. And she said, I can't believe you're speaking like this. You're supposed to be preventing those 10 people from going on dialysis, not counting on it. Then that was when I walked away from nephrology. And I who walked away from nephrology, why are you giving me kidney failure? Right? That was my conversation with God. Why are you giving me kidney failure? Right? So then I realized there's no easy answers. I have to apply myself to reversing kidney failure, because did I want to go on dialysis? Hell no, never. You could not pay me $1 million to go on dialysis. I would run in the because I know what happens to people who are on dialysis. I know what happens to people when we get a kidney transplant, because I've taken care of them as their doctor, isn't it? I don't want that for me. So I realized there's no way out. I have to figure out how to reverse it, and I have to do it for other people, because I don't want to do it for myself. How boring is that? I want to do it for other people. And so I made a deal with God. This was the deal. I said, I will reverse it. In the minute I reverse kidney failure in 10 people, you should reverse my kidney failure. That's the deal. And there's a deal made. So, and then I succeeded in reversing kidney failure in 2015. I patented it. I'm still working on trying to reach a large number of patients. And then I realized, I went and looked back at everything that had happened to me in my life. And walking away from the money part of nephrology was God's test to find out if I had the character to give me the way to reverse kidney failure. And when God could see that I was able to walk away from the traditional part of practice of medicine, which is also taking the money for it, then God was able to give me the disease so that I would figure out the way to reverse it, which I did. But it was a hard path. So understanding that is salience. Becoming aware of that, thinking, why did this actually happen to me? Like, actually, what is without emotions, without me being the center of it, my ego or whatever. No. It would have happened to anybody who made those choices. It doesn't matter. And since then I've discovered there are plenty of people who have made that choice. As patients with kidney failure, they have fought. I don't want to be on dialysis. So many of them have kidney failure reversal programs, many people. But you could say I'm one of the few nephrologists who has. I don't know of another who has, but I'm sure there are nephrologists too. So anyway, then this part of the brain has emotions, which you can see in green, and memories, which you can see in yellow. And the bottom up comes from here and the top down comes from here. Okay?
Right.
So I'm sorry, I had an alarm set for 10 minutes to go for the class to finish, but I was going to review the things. But if we're going for another week, then I'd like to continue with this because I think we have a lot to cover here, and we are barely scratching the surface of what we are going to say about neurocoaching. So mindfulness training improves the triple network function: the salience network, the default mode network, and the executive network. These are the three networks that predominantly control our thinking and how we react or respond to different situations. Okay. And when we do this mindfulness practice, and this is what we will train first the teachers in, and then the teachers can train the students. The students can be of any age. In fact, all my fellow classmates and me are all in our 50s, 60s, and 70s. Some are in their 80s. It doesn't matter what age the student is. You can train anybody to improve the mindfulness training. And when you give them mindfulness training, it improves the networks, the way they function. The default mode network, the central executive network, and the salience network. The central executive network is the one that takes charge of our day, plans our time, gets the goals done for the day. I have to get this shopping done. I have to get this cooking done. I have to get this thing done at work. I have to get this thing done with my child. I have to get this thing done with my in-laws and my husband, whatever. That is the central executive network. The salience network is, today my child brought home a painting, and okay, it's from Mother's Day. And on the painting, my child had a picture of a flower and me and my child holding hands. What does this painting mean? I think my child is trying to tell me that he or she would like to be outside in nature with me. The meaning of things. That's the salience network. And then you have default mode network, which is kind of what the brain is spending most of its time in, which is imagination. Imagination doesn't come up to the conscious mind a lot of the times. But sometimes you can catch what the mind is thinking when it is imagining. Maybe you just have 10 seconds and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I would so like a hot cup of coffee, right now. Just a little bit of, I love to have a hot cup of chai right now, a little bit of cardamom and some clove and some, just some ginger masala chai. It'd be so good. It's so cold outside. So that is the imagination, default mode network, right? And when there is imbalance between these three networks, that's when we get all this mental illness, anxiety, depression, ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. This is very, 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 very common all over the world, but it definitely is there in India too. Schizophrenia.
Ma'am,
Yes.
if you can explain in a very simple manner what is ADHD and PTSD as a layman, if we want to understand.
Yeah, this is when a person cannot keep focus long enough to get things done. Their mind is running in 10 different directions all the time because this imagination network is hyperactive and it is dominating the central executive network and it is dominating the salience network. Attention deficit. So they're not able to have attention for a prolonged period of time. And because they're not able to have attention, see, if you had a goal and you had to accomplish in this 1 hour, I have to communicate all these lessons to the people, right? You will not be hyperactive. You'll not be running around and, just, oh, I'll start this, baking this cake. I'll put the flour. Now I have to go there and check the laundry. Now I have to run, brush my teeth. No. Okay. You sit there and you do the work, right? They can't do that. That is what attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is. They can't do that. They don't have the ability because this default mode or imagination network is so overactive. It is dominating the central executive network and the salience network. Okay. Post-traumatic stress disorder. This is when somebody has had an extreme trauma in their life. It may be something like being in war and being shot at, or maybe their husband beat them up in an alcoholic rage, or maybe as a child, the teacher slapped them in the class or made them stand on the bench or go outside. or didn't give them permission to go to the bathroom, something.
And even
that
losing
is trauma.
a family member, and even losing a family member.
A family member to COVID, yes, or any disease.
Right.
Thank you for pointing that out. But trauma comes in many sizes and shapes, and trauma is a daily occurrence in most people's lives. Most people have a lot of trauma. If 92 countries in the world, like we saw last week, are in conflict and their children are not getting 670 million out of 1 billion students cannot read and write and cannot do enough mathematics to get change. If the bill is, the bill is 150 rupees and 73 paisa, they don't know what change to get back because their education is not enough. 67% of our students in the world today are like that. See, that causes trauma because they're going to be cheated. They're going to be taken advantage of, isn't it? And the stress disorder is the fear. It's this Frankenstein part of the brain telling them that no matter what they do, they will never understand about money. They will never be able to put their signature. They will always be taken advantage of by somebody who can and will take advantage of them. And therefore, they should never try to get better, try to learn, try to put themselves in a better place. And the trauma also invites that environment for them. So it is self-defeating also. Self-defeating, it is creating of the environment that causes future defeat. So it is a repetitive, they are reliving that trauma again and again, and that trauma gets projected into their environment and it becomes their reality. And post-traumatic stress disorder refers to that. And these are all many neurological diseases. And what this neuro coaching model says, which is a beautiful thing, because if you go to a psychiatrist, they will treat these with medicines. And a lot of times these things will not be discussed, the brain networks and whether you can retrain the brain network to be less dominant or less forceful. We will talk about all this in neuro coaching, not maybe with all the medical terms if this is too much, but I'm just sharing with you the scope of this, how much it can impact society and our students. All our students, by the way, have post-traumatic stress disorder. There's not one child. I mean, if 670 million children are not reading and writing their name and not able to do basic addition and subtraction, somebody has traumatized them, right? It's not because they're not getting educated. Somebody has told them what a stupid fool you are. You cannot even do this problem. And if they don't understand, somebody has told them, well, too bad, deal with it, learn and figure it out yourself. Or if you can't keep up with the class, I'm going to fail you. Imagine that kind of trauma on a child, the effect on a child's mind. Horrible. It's like killing a human being, actually, if you ask me, for a teacher to do that to a student, So
we need to have first mindful teachers.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. First, we need to train the teachers, and these people will be the coaches for the teachers. First, we will train these teachers, then they will train other teachers, and those teachers will start training students. So it is a multi-level process. But if we didn't, so this is actually the part of the talk that I wanted to share with you, and there are at least another 100 slides. So I can talk for the next 10 hours on neuro coaching. But I think what I'm trying to say here is that if we set these systems up from the top down, because we can see clearly what the problem is, we can see clearly what the solution is, and we can see what the steps are that need to be taken. If we didn't have a coaching program like this, it could take India between 10 and 20 years to come out of certain things to meet those United Nations Development Program goals that we talked about last week in item number 4. Okay. But when we put this kind of a top-down coaching program in place, where first we train, like maybe we start with 100, that in 3 months, those 100 people can train 500, 5 each. In the next 3 months, those 500 can train 10 each. that can become 5,000.
Mhm.
Every 3 months now we're talking about, right? Every
Yes.
3 months. Now the
Yes.
first 100, you can see they've already gotten 3 cycles of experience of training and what the problems are that may be coming out.
Mhm.
We can shrink this 20-year span to 5 years to meet UNDP goals for India with programs like this.
Ji,
That's
ji,
what I
ji,
wanted to say.
ji.
And with that, I can go on. You can tell me if you would like me to continue. I'm happy to.
Yes, yes, ma'am. We are even happy to hear because you have such an amount of knowledge that we want to listen more and more. But this we can take now next week. And
Yes.
yes, but before going on, these slides further, we can talk next week. A question is coming to my mind. It's
Yes.
just a curiosity that is coming. As you are talking about Einstein, uh, we have heard that when we talk about IQ, so the IQ of an ordinary person is very low or average or below average, but that of Einstein or like-minded people like Einstein or very good researchers, they have very high IQ. And after that, I have also heard that those people like Einstein have uses the 5% of his brain capacity, but an ordinary person uses only 2 to 3%. Why is this so, ma'am? And how to increase the brain capacity to go up to 5% or to increase the IQ?
So a large part of that, I would say 80% of that is access to opportunity.
Okay.
And access to opportunity means having good teachers who are willing to take the time and the energy to figure out what the blocks to learning for that child is and work to remove those blocks. I grew up in India, as you know, and I was there, I lived until 23, 24 years of age.
Mhm.
And I remember when I went to Rosary Matriculation School, I was one of 60 students in the class, 60.
Mhm.
And I was always first or second or third rank in the class, but there were so many that did not know what they were doing. The teacher could not give them personal attention.
Mhm.
And it was just, I'm here to show you how to add 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 2, 4, whatever that is. And if I complete that, that's the end of my duty. Whether you understand it or not, that's your problem, right? To a child.
Mhm.
To a child. So it is not about IQ being different.
Mhm.
Anybody can say anything, but my family and I would respectfully disagree. I'm sure Gulshan Sharma ji would respectfully disagree. It's not about IQ. It's about access to opportunity. It is
Okay.
about whether you have good teachers. It's about
Mhm.
whether those teachers care about you, whether
Okay.
they're able to be mindful themselves and be mindful and teach you mindfulness. And
Okay.
whether whatever fears and blocks and other things that this sabotage center in the brain is throwing up constantly, which is a survival protective mechanism,
Mhm.
whether the teacher is able to train the student how to shut down the sabotage center and bring this up. We can't depend on families to know all this. As it
Right.
is in America, the employer is the parent of the adult. So somebody over the age of 18 in America, guess who their parents are? Their employers.
Mhm.
Because the parents can't teach them a whole lot more.
Mhm.
The employers have to teach them
See.
what is truth, what is fairness, what is honesty, why it is important to treat each other well, why it is important to take care of your health. All this is being taught by employers to employees because the parents are not and school is not.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is largely until 12th standard, that part, life skills part of parenting will have to be taught by teachers. And if the teachers are not trained, then the students don't have opportunity or access. And that is the main difference. Everything else is 20%. Opportunity is 80% of the difference between why why people have, I mean, I'm using your words. I don't think anybody has low IQ. I cannot even believe that. It's not possible.
Okay.
I've already shared with you the story of the E. coli.
Yeah.
Was it born with the knowledge that it could take down a human being? No. But in the opportunity, in the situation where it had to decide whether it's going to be the human being killing me with the antibiotics or me killing the human being, and it came out on top. Did it go through college? Did it have a teacher who taught it mindfulness? No. So,
Right.
and is it any less of a genius for being a single cell organism? No. If a one cell organism can take down a trillion cell organism, that organism is a genius. It's an Einstein, isn't it? So that's really all that it is. Access
Thank
to
you.
opportunity.
So thank you, ma'am, for giving this viewpoint also. Today I have got a new viewpoint onto this, and I will remember this now. From now onwards, I'll keep remembering this, that everyone has the same IQ. It is just the situations that you are into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are some things, 20%. That's only 20%.
So
80% is access to opportunity.
As you said, nobody is inferior, superior.
Nobody is inferior.
Yeah.
Nobody in any way.
Thank you for
in
giving
all
this
ways.
viewpoint. Thank you for giving this viewpoint today, ma'am. And we will be getting more from you next time, next week, because the information that you are giving is wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful. It is actually, we are getting mindfulness from you.
Wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity so much. And I want to bow to my mentors, to my parents for giving the right values and belief systems always. And I want to bow to you and to Gulshan Sharma ji for giving me the opportunity, for giving us the opportunity to be heard, and for allowing us to give everything that we have, because this is coming from a place of love of Mother India and love of our fellow brothers and sisters in India, and for my mentors to share everything they have with me so I can share it with you. I'm very grateful to everybody. And I'm so grateful to you, Chitra ji, for creating and giving me the opportunity to present. And long live India, Jai Hind. And I will be praying for Gulshan Sharma ji's rapid return. He is our father. He is our leader, our mentor, our guide. And I'm really praying for his rapid and complete recovery. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Chitra ji. Appreciate you.
All our viewers on YouTube, along with ITFT team, we want to thank you. In fact, we should bow in front of you, and you're giving a tremendous amount of information to us. And thank you for sharing that. And we will continue that next week also.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I really look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Ji, thank you, ma'am. And with that, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to everyone, those who are listening to us. We'll be getting back next week with this particular kind of an information, same time, Sunday, 8 p.m. Indian time. And looking forward to have all of you to listen further on to this with Dr. PRIYA Visweswaran, ma'am. And goodbye for now.